In 2012, Pixar released Brave, an empowering story about Princess Merida, who defies customs in order to make her own path in life.
This whole marriage is what you want. Do you ever bother to ask what I want?
Thanks to its deep, well-written characters, it can be tricky to place who is the most morally righteous and who is in the most need of help to find their way. I'm Kyle with WickedBinge, and this is Brave, Good to Evil.
That's my favorite part!
First up on our list as most good, we have to put young MacGuffin. One of the young men meant to win Merida's hand, the moment we see him, he looks terrified. Even if he is the one easily splitting a small log with his bare hands. He's a sweet guy who wants to do good by his family, but in the end, he makes it clear that he understood Merida's desire to hold off on marriage. The actual translation of his response to not marrying the princess was, "It's just not fair making us fight for the hand of a girl who doesn't want anything to do with us, you know?"
It's just no fair making us fight for the hand of a queen that doesn't want anybody.
He doesn't say that he doesn't want to marry her like the other two princes, but he does express that he understands her feelings. Second on our list is Fergus.
Come on! I'll take you with my bare hand!
A fun-loving man and approachable ruler despite his large size. He's a loving husband and caring father. He adores his queen and shows clear reluctance marrying his daughter off. He still goes through with the tradition, knowing what the reaction could be otherwise, but he does try to make the process as endurable as possible for Merida, making jokes with her throughout the archery contest.
And such lovely flowing locks.
He does lock Merida up when going after the bear that he mistakenly thought attacked his wife, but he did so to protect her and would no doubt have freed her once the threat was taken care of.
Marty, keep this and don't let her out!
He's a stubborn man, eventually getting into a brawl declaring that none of the princes were good enough for his daughter, but all of his actions come from a good heart.
Avert your eyes, lads! Show some respect!
Third on our list is Eleanor. From the perspective of a younger audience member, you might only see a controlling mother who never wants her daughter's input. From an older demographic, however, we can see why she acts the way she does. She wants what is best for her daughter, stating that she only wanted Merida to have what she and Fergus didn't.
Schooling you, giving you everything we never had.
A composed and patient woman, she stuck by her new husband as they built their castle from nothing, and fought to protect her daughter against the frightening mor'du in possibly one of the best action scenes in Disney/Pixar history. And it was also hard to watch her regret hurting her daughter after throwing her beloved bow into the fireplace. The regret made it clear she resented her own actions, and although she made mistakes, we can see that she makes those mistakes out of love. Next is Angus. Not a prince or enchanted being, but he is Merida's shoulder to lean on when she can't find anyone else to turn to. He isn't shown all that much, but he does show concern when Merida is climbing the waterfalls and only flips her out of fear for their surroundings. Going by Merida's reaction, it wasn't a typical thing he did.
Come on, Angus. Angus!
Horses just seem to have a good reputation with Disney.
You hungry too, Angus?
Next up is Lord MacGuffin. He's a bit lower on our list than his son due to his obvious arrogant behavior. Like the other rulers, he takes a lot of pride in his family and his clan.
I present my eldest son.
He's a good father, only wanting what's best for his son, but it can be poorly executed. The only reason he's ranked above the other clan leaders is that rather than being flabbergasted about his son not wanting to marry Merida, he simply asks his son if he feels the same way.
And you? You feel the same way?
A prideful man and a sensible one. Next, we have Wee Dingwall. He's hard to place for a few reasons, but overall comes off as a decent guy. He does tend to be half asleep most of the time, and the one moment we see some life in him is when he's ordered to attack another clan leader. We didn't expect the biting, but whatever gets the job done. It's a shame he's written off simply for being smaller and lankier than the other princes. He makes it clear that he sides with Merida and states that he doesn't care she's the princess.
I didn't pick her out, it was your idea.
That could be seen as cold, but we like to think it means he doesn't let status dictate who he falls for. Moving on, we have Mahdi. erratic, temperamental, and easily distracted with flirting. When we see her, she's either screaming in terror, hiding from the boys, or giggling at some man flirting with her. She isn't developed much, but she's obviously loyal to the family and hates to see any of them hurt. She scolds the boys regularly because of their pranks and fondness for treats, and has to actually try and block out Merida's cries for the key after Fergus ordered the princess to stay locked in her room.
Maudie! I need you!
Moving on to the boys, Harris, Hubert, and Hamish. They cause mischief everywhere they go.
And no more fighting!
Now, it isn't safe to use an axe to cut part of a guard's mustache, but it isn't exactly evil either. They may haggle their sister for more desserts, but they did help Merida and Eleanor escape from the castle.
You can have my desserts for 2-3 weeks.
And they did retrieve the key for their sister, which allowed her to be able to save their mother from the mob. Certainly not the most well-behaved kids, but they do come through when it's important. Finally, we get to the free-spirited Princess Merida. Being the focus of the movie, many would expect her to be much higher on the list. However, we have our reasons for ranking her so low. Her desire to be single, even if it's only a little longer, leads to a lot of chaos.
I'll be shooting for my own hand.
She's well aware that her causing trouble could start a war and lead to her clan being thrown into poverty or killed. We understand that she should be free to make decisions herself, but given the stakes, one could argue that there is some serious selfishness, especially given the era and setting. She may not have intended to turn her mother into a bear, but she did pay to put a spell on her, and that could not have ended well no matter what the result.
Oh, that scaffy witch gave me a gammy spell.
She does eventually admit to her mistakes, and she certainly gets balanced out because of her heroic actions saving her mom from an angry mob.
I'll not let you kill my mother.
And it helps that she obviously adores her little brothers, even if she hates how much they get away with.
They get away with murder. I can never get away with anything.
Next, we have Lord Mackintosh. Another clan leader, he can be over the top more than needed. He may be a loving father, but it can be argued he's not the best one.
At least you hit the target, sir!
He clearly raised his son to be far too arrogant and to think that he's better than everyone else. And judging by this guy's behavior, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And he is the only one who carries a weapon when confronting Merida towards the end. Next, after his father, is young Mackintosh. Extremely vain, he goes into a fit of rage when things don't go his way. He does anything to get attention, and is treated more of a red carpet celebrity than a respectable prince and warrior. And like many princes and lords, he does have a bit of a body count, but at least he has the honor of being the first to jump on with Merida rejecting the marriage.
A grand idea! Give us our own say in choosing our fate.
Though we suspect it's because he wanted to play the field with his many fangirls. Lord Dingwall is next on our list.
Dingwall!
He was a strange man to place since he's more of a chaotic neutral than anything else. An odd man of short stature, he's the loudest of the lords and quick to instigate a fight.
You wanna laugh, huh? We Dingwall!
In fact, he's the first one to taunt the other lords, mocking them and saying they were too afraid to muss with their hair.
Afraid to muss your pretty hair?
And he's the first one to encourage violence, ordering his son to attack. Not to mention he isn't the classiest guy on the planet. I mean, who moons someone to celebrate a victory? Now, we're giving this silver medal for most evil character in Brave to the witch and her crow.
The go stocking.
That's not all I can do. La, 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 la.
She isn't the most wicked being in creation, but she is driven by money and threatens to attack Merida with an army of flying blades.
If you're not going to buy anything, get out.
We can give her some leniency considering the time period she would have likely been killed for being a witch. And her crow isn't much better, encouraging her crazed behavior.
Oh, what was that thing about the spell?
And being a crow, it makes sense he would be swayed by Merida's payment since crows do love shiny things. A strange duo, but at least the witch left a warning in case Merida came by to ask for help.
By the second sunrise, your spell will won't be permanent.
even if it did explode. And finally, the gold medal for most evil on our list comes without any surprise. The man of legend that became a beast of terror, mor'du.
Mor'du?
A man turned into a bear out of jealousy and anger. He didn't live a good life.
Oh no. The prince became...
He may have been royalty, but his poor judgment got the better of him. We're glad that he finds peace in the end, thanks to Merida and Eleanor, but it was a shame he had to endure it all just because he wanted to rule alone. It's hard to say how long he was stuck suffering in that form and how far gone he was, but he still attacked for far more than just a simple hunt, showing there was still senseless anger dominating his personality. But what do you think? Who are the most good and evil characters in Pixar's Brave? Make sure to binge our Good to Evil playlist where we break down the morality of the characters in your favorite shows, movies, and games. But most importantly, stay wicked.